So this is Nathan Lyle. And by now you probably realize, unless you just started with this video, but it's one of the last ones on the playlist for Anime Corner for the Winter 2015 simulcast. 2014-2015 kind of blend. Anyways, so this one is alternate reality stuff, and the reason I said that is just because, well, once I did all the other segments, I had a bunch of anime left, and I wanted to split them in half so the videos wouldn't be like 20 minutes long. And so yeah, this is stuff that happens either in like a parallel type universe where something weird is going on with them, or something in the future, like with Aldnoah.Zero, which, if you're not new to my channel, you've seen some of the videos I've put on here before, and it's one of those things that, like, I feel like I have the most to say about this, so I'm going to try to get through it pretty fast. What can I say that hasn't already been said to add to the conversation? Long story short, first 2 episodes, not enough to really make me say it's a great one, you should watch it. But then the next 10 episodes after that, it just continues getting better and better. You know, it keeps increasing, and it's just like, it gets more and more fun. The tension, the twist, the plot twist, the character drama, it's great. Then we get to the second half, and oh my god, the second season, probably more disappointing than the original ending of Evangelion. Like, I just could not stand the direction that everything was going. Just, for one thing, the plot twist completely disappeared. Everything became predictable once again. And apparently in this anime, nobody can die. Which, like, I get it, but like, that's how shows are supposed to be. But now, thanks to things like, you know, Game of Thrones, and what was the other anime we watched? The one with the swords, Akame got killed. You know, things like that. I'm kind of wanting more people to die in different animes, especially in this anime. I hate Inaho. Just letting you know that I will always hate Inaho, no matter what you tell me. You know, I'm always going to hate Inaho. And long story short, just I was ready to turn on this camera and just tell everybody, do not watch this show. I do not want to support any of the people who made this. I want their careers to fizzle out and die. I want them to become miserable failures and never eat again. You know, and I want their children and great-grandchildren to know that they were failures. But the last episode, it's like, it calmed me down a little bit. It was very calming, though I still don't like it. So if you haven't seen it, honestly, I'm still going to tell you don't bother with it. There are other things you can check out first. That being said, it is a great anime. It's very well made. I just hate the story so much. It's hard for me to say I like an anime when I'm actively rooting for the good guys to die. Like, I'm actively hoping that the main character, Inaho, it gets killed. I want him to be shot in the head. Like, and I'm actively rooting for the villain slain to have good things happen to him, for him to succeed with his invasion plan and blah blah blah. So like, if for that reason alone, it's hard for me to ever recommend this to anybody. You know, but that's me. The fact that I got so invested in this anime might actually show you that, hey, it's so incredibly well made. Like, I'm that invested in these characters and what happens to them. The only bad thing about this anime, other than, like I said, everything that I already hate about it, is that in the finale, like, I liked how it was going in one direction, which I did not like that specific direction, but I appreciated that they were willing to do something like this. But then they changed it all up, and then something happens, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And then, long story short, it all ends in this little happy wrap-up type kind of thing. You know how it is, like, we're going to take this entire story that you've invested in, and rather than give you any actual ending per se, we're just going to skip ahead 5 years to when everything was already resolved. So we're not going to tell you how it all got resolved, really. We're just going to tell you this is where everything ends up. And I don't like where everything ended up to begin with. Second of all, even though it's not the worst, let's wrap this whole series up in 2 minutes so that to make everything unhappy endings that I've ever seen, I have yet to see a good, oh, let's wrap everything up in 2 minutes to make everyone happy ending. I mean, there's no such thing, for at least for me personally. That's just my opinion, though. So, yeah, I had a lot to say about that one. So, if you have seen it, you might as well finish it. If you haven't watched it, don't. Just don't, okay? Next, we move on to Absolute Duo. Finally, there's actually other anime on this thing. So, this one, it's about people who are born with a power which allows them to use their soul force to create special weapons. And so they go to a special school to learn to use their powers. And, I'm not sure what their goal is supposed to be. I think that they think they're going there to learn to use their powers to protect people and save the world. But I'm still not necessarily sure about this headmistress. I'm not sure if she's actually trying to protect anything. She might be out for world conquest. I don't get it. There's some shit going on here. Kind of needed to go deeper, a little bit. There is a lot of fan service, mild stuff, boobies bouncing, crotch shots, all that stuff. But not. It's enough to be noticeable, but not so much that it shouldn't be too distracting unless you just really hate fan service. But me, I like it, and so it was an acceptable amount of fan service. It didn't distract from the show itself. There is a lot of this high school drama bullshit because it's not necessarily a harem anime because there are multiple guys in the school, which makes it even harder to accept the fact that every girl in the school seems to fall in love with this one guy, except that it's not technically every girl in the school, it's really 3 specific girls. And there is is a good specific reason for why they're attracted to him in the first place, and it has more to do with the power that he holds and his personality necessarily. So that kind of part makes it more acceptable. So anyways, it's the story itself, there's good parts, there's bad parts. Overall, I'd give this about a meh. It's passable. That's what I'll say. It's passable. It's not the best, damn sure not the worst though. And then there's Shaiken Sukai no Waradu Breiko, a world break aria of Curse for a Holy Swordsman, which I saw on Crunchyroll and Funimation. A bunch of people are born with memories from a past life where there was some warrior or warlock or something else. And so now they're all high schoolers and they're in a school where they learn to harness their powers so they can use it to defend the world from these weird monsters that just randomly pop up and start destroying stuff. So, yeah, there's a lot of good fighting sequences, though I really don't understand. They have this thing where they write spells and they chant and stuff, and I don't really get that part, and I don't. It's too much reading to do. So when that part comes up, I'm just kind of okay, back to the action. Oh, that was cool. They threw fire at you. Why did you have to write 50 different lines of poetry to throw flames at them? I don't get it. But yeah, it's a fun anime. Lots of good comedy. Fan service again. But I feel like it's it's right around the acceptable level. It doesn't really take away from the storyline too much. In fact, they integrate it as part of the storyline. It leads to more, it's a comedic situation type thing, so I enjoyed it. Overall, great storyline, good characters, a lot of interesting things, and the deeper you go into the story, the more enjoyable it is. So it's one of those things that you may not like it right off the bat, but if you give it a chance, watch a few episodes, and then watch a few more, you might like it. And then there's Junjo Mojin no Fafner, Unlimited Fafner, on Crunchyroll. A bunch of girls who are born with a strange power go to a school where they learn to use this power to protect the world from monsters. I'm starting to see a pattern in this thing. Anyways, and this one, once again, harem anime. It's about a guy who, he's the only boy on the planet who has the powers of the D. I just got that. Anyways, because these girls, they're called Ds, and they have the which is short for dragon because they have the powers of dragons, and he's the only boy on the planet who has it. But part of the storyline, which is an interesting thing that I don't want to spoil for you, is that like he has this power for a different reason than them. They were just like, they were all born with a strange tattoo, which lights up when their dragon that they're matched up with comes towards them. And so their friends have to go out and kill the dragon for them, because if the dragon comes in contact with them, they will turn into a copy of that dragon. And now they've got two monsters that you have to worry about killing. So it's an interesting storyline. Mild fan service. Some good comedy spirit in here and there throughout. The concept of time is a very fluid thing to them, because there are times when it seems like 1 hour will be stretched out over 5 episodes, but then in the very next episode we just skipped ahead like 2 or 4 months. And so that's one thing that I had that bugged me a little, but that's just an issue that I had. It doesn't necessarily affect the storyline or your ability to enjoy it. And then next we'll move on to World Trigger, which is continuing from a previous simulcast and probably continuing more from what I've seen. Nothing has wrapped up yet. It looks like it's far from it. I don't know how long this is going to go, but like I really can't say I love it. All I can say is it's one of the most interesting ones. It's one of the few that I'm really paying attention to. There are times when it gets, I don't want to say boring, but there's a lull in the action, and it's just them talking to each other, and stuff is just being explained. But even when they're just standing there talking about stuff, explaining why this and that, it's still interesting, at least for me. So like, it's got some good fight sequences, it's got some good characters, it's got some growth and development. The most important thing to me is that it have an interesting storyline. That's what makes it watchable, because just learning these things about this world that they live in, and all these different worlds that keep popping up, and just finding out what happens next. Just that part is what keeps me coming back for more. And then there's Margin Bone, which I liked it at first, then I didn't like it. It got boring for a while. Then I liked it some more, and then I didn't, and then I did. It's a very up and down anime. All in all, it's very long. It's about 50 episodes. This has been going on since last summer. And, I managed to make it to the end. I don't know if I could ever actually marathon through it, though. Like, the fact that it's been coming up once a week for this long, I was able to sit through it. Especially since it came on a day when there's not much else out that I wanted to watch. So, yeah, if you're bored with nothing else to do, it's not the worst way to spend your time watching a few episodes of it. And then there's Cross An's Tenshi to Rio no Rondo, Cross An's Rondo of Angel and Dragon. And I talked about the first half of the series already, which is very rapey. It showed some good, it's like realistic, racist type things going on. It's got how mass prejudice can affect a society, and how just finding out one little fact about someone changes every human being's view on that person. And so, yeah, that was something that I appreciated. And in the second season, it kind of goes away from that, and it starts revealing more answers to questions I didn't even necessarily know I had. But, I'm grateful for the answers. And it becomes more and more interesting as it goes on. I become more invested in the characters and the storyline once we get to that latter half. And it becomes more worth watching. Like, first half, it's hard to sit through, but it's very great storyline, very great, people type storyline. I don't even really care about the dragons. But then in the second half, it becomes all about the dragons, and I'm like, okay, wait, why are there dragons? And then it's like, that was the best way I could think of to explain it. I'm not always good with words. So anyways, yeah, those are my favorite ones from this. I'd have to say, this is the hardest section for me. They're all pretty great. Like, my personal favorite, I'd say Cross An's #1, World Trigger are close to. And after that, it's like, they're all tied for third. Like, all of them, except Aldnoah.Zero, which would be way at the bottom beneath everything else. So yeah, between these two, I'd say check out World Trigger or Cross An's first. If you want to, So yeah, that's the end of this video. Check if you haven't yet. Check out the other videos on this playlist. Later.